We welcome the Eagles of ALA Gilbert North. The Seton Catholic community extends to you a warm welcome. ALA and Seton Catholic are members of the Arizona Interscholastic Association and abide by the rules and regulations as set forth by the association to maintain high standards of conduct, competition, and relations schools. Tonight's teams are friendly rivals playing in a game representing their schools. As members of opposing teams, their display of sportsmanship should be reflected by all spectators in attendance. Our officials for tonight's game, as assigned by the AIA, are Nicholas Dreyer, Rick Irwin, and Kyle Knotts. First, we'd like to introduce the starters from our guests from ALA, coached by Michael Gonzalez. Number 11, Garrett Baker. Number 12, Preston Brizzy. Number 15, Colin Carroll. Number 4, Emerson Hall. Number 0, Shane Keller. Number 5, Andrew Kramer.
Tonight, the Seton Catholic soccer team dusts off the holiday rust. They're back on the turf, taking on ALA Gilbert North. The Eagles flying into town. The action coming to you live from Michael Eubanks Stadium right here on the Seton Catholic Sports Network. Good evening, everyone. I'm Joe Pequeno. Happy Friday to you and Happy New Year to you out there. Hope the year is a great one for you, and hopefully it's a good start for the Sentinels, led by head coach Billy Baker. The squad hasn't played since December 15th, since losing to Prescott, and they are 0-3 looking for their first victory of the season. A young team, and had a chance to talk to Coach Baker before this matchup, and he says, look, got to get these youngsters to buy in, and he's doing what's necessary to build the culture of his program. Bringing in on the mic is the doctor, Adam Perry. Doc, good evening.
Good evening, Joe. Great to be here. And yeah, you mentioned it. They're trying to build a culture right now, and something has to happen. There has to be a spark to really upstart that culture, and I wonder who's going to bring it here tonight for Seton.
So Seton on the field right now, as well as Gilbert ALA North, and we'll take a moment for the school prayer and the national anthem. And we are just moments away before the Sentinels kick off against the Eagles of ALA Gilbert North. Once again, the Sentinels haven't played since December 15th. Last time they were out in the field, they were at Prescott up in the high country, coming away with a 9-0 loss, and now they are back at it. And Coach Baker, once again, he's going young. Doc, he's going to go with youth and trying to build his culture. And starting lineup for Seton Catholic between the pipes, Ali Acuna. Number 3, Jacob Alarcon. Number 9, Matt Albanese. Number 11, Eduardo Barboa. Number 12, Ethan Garcia. Number 16, Logan Sauer. Number 22, Tanner Gordon. Number 23, Hector Acosta. Number 14, Peter Sajabai. Number 9, off the JV roster, Carlos Rodriguez Galvez. Number 4, Gus Munoz. And number 17, Griffin Charlson. On the other side for the Eagles, between the pipes, freshman Shane Keller. Forward, junior Hayden Lay. Number 3, Maxwell Parker, a forward, a sophomore. Sophomore midfielder number 4, Emerson Hall. Midfielder also playing on the defensive end, senior Andrew Kramer. Midfielder, senior number 6, Aaron Nielsen. Number 11, a forward, sophomore, Garrett Baker. Number 12, sophomore midfielder, Preston Breezy. Number 13, a forward, a freshman in Daniel Morris. Defender, number 14, Corbin Sider. Number 15, also in the mix, Colin Carroll. And we are underway from Michael Eubanks Stadium. And Doc, no question for a Seton team that still looking for his first victory. The point of emphasis, start fast, play with effort, play with passion.
Absolutely. And, the last contest we were able to witness out here, we saw them start fast, but they couldn't maintain that pace throughout the duration of the game. And, they suffered a pretty unfortunate loss there, but they seem to be off to a better start here tonight.
Josh Brown is not here in attendance. He is with his family. So Victor Nichols is also out with an injury. So 2 significant pieces of the puzzle for Seton not here this evening. So, hey, as the old adage goes, it's the next man up, Doc.
Yeah, next man up, absolutely. We see some younger names on this roster here tonight, and, that's great, especially when you're trying to establish a culture. Sometimes it doesn't hurt to go down.
So this one's starting with the Sentinels and ALA Gilbert North. And these two teams played a thriller last year with ALA Gilbert North beating Seton in a 1-0 contest, highly contested under Coach Grant Wagner at the time. His young men gave an excellent effort. And for Coach Baker, he is evaluating this squad, and yesterday he said he had a practice. He said it was the first time he had all 29 players on hand since tryouts. So that tells you that a group of these young men want to be part of this program and are committed to making this program take the next page and along the way give what's necessary. So it was a good moment for Coach Baker, and then he had to hop on a bus and join the ladies about an hour later. But a good sign for the program as they embark on the new season where anything can happen. It's a slew of games are in front of them, and they can turn it around with effort, energy, hustle. And you never know what you're going to get from the youngsters along the way. Youngsters that have bought their time playing in JV, and maybe some of those kids felt slighted by being in JV, and now they see their window of opportunity. And Doc, when you get that window, that's your moment to shine at any given point.
Absolutely. I mean, when you get that window as an underclassman or a player on junior varsity, you just got to capitalize on it. You got to do something to stand out to your coach and earn more playing time. And, that chip on the shoulder is something that could help Seton a lot, really. So I'm interested to see how that'll play out tonight.
So Acuna takes one in on the shot from the outside by Maxwell Parker. First shot of the game. And Gilbert ALA North, as they come in with a record of 4-1. They opened with an 18-0 victory over Apache Junction, a 3-0 victory over Saguaro, knocking off Northwest Christian 2-1, losing to Arizona College Prep. And Arizona College Prep, when it's all said and done, Doc, they might win it all. They're 13-0 on the season. They're playing phenomenal.
Wow.
And then ALA Gilbert North bounces back with a 7-1 victory at Vista Grand in Casa Grande. And here they are. They're led by, of course, their coach, Michael Gonzalez, who is a product of Mesa, went to Mountain View, also went to Mesa Community College. He has been the coach since the inception of this program 7 years ago. and led the team to the 3A state title back in 2019 when they went 16-0. So this is a gentleman that knows what it takes to put a quality product on the field, and his players are bought in, and now they've made the move to 4A. Last year they were 17-4. So, you know, this is a program that doesn't matter what level they're at, they rise to the occasion, and so far they are delivering on all ends and starting the year 4-1. And that kick goes awry, and the Sentinels are trying to clear it on the back end. And right now it'd be just a bonus if the Sentinels could start fast and get some points on the board. Hector Acosta working the ball briefly on that right side, and now it's the back end of the Eagles trying to clear it from the attacking forwards and the attacking mids for the Sentinels. So a good night on campus last night. The Seton women's basketball team knocking off Bradshaw Mountain to improve to 11-5. They did it in convincing fashion, getting double points from Mia DiPuccio as well as the sharpshooter Carmela Gallardo, and they're back on the courts next week, taking on first Saguaro on the road, and then they'll get matched up against Mesquite. And right now, Seton has an opportunity. Eduardo Borboa, the midfielder with so much promise, will have the opportunity from the free kick, and this is a golden moment for the Sentinels, and that is blocked right in front of the box by a Eagles defender. Borboa shoots it and right into a point blank look, and that is in, banged in, and the Sentinels are on the board first. A fantastic effort and knocking it home. Matt Albanese, the free kick delivers. Point blank, Albanese beats Shane Keller, and the Sentinels are on top.
Wow, what a sequence there from the blocked free kick to a wonderful open look from Albanese. I mean, and way to convert for him. That's exactly what the Sentinels needed to get them started here tonight.
Just a fantastic start for the Sentinels, a team that is still trying to build a culture and build an identity under head coach William Baker. And we've seen so much success from Coach Baker on the women's side. The ladies are a force. When it's all said and done, they could be in the thick of the 4A state title hunt. And right now it's Coach Baker on the men's side trying to bring in some youth that is pushing the upperclassmen to work hard, and not to say that the upperclassmen are not playing hard. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying sometimes you get youth and enthusiasm that's buying into the culture, and that helps shape things for the future. And a good start for the Sentinels in this one as Borboa off the free kick, and Albany's point blank beats Shane Keller. And now we have a tumble right in the box. Bodies flying, and the Sentinels with an opportunity to clear it out on their back end. Eagles making some noise in on the mix. Garrett Baker with a point blank look, and all of a sudden bodies tumbling, and Baker did not get the opportunity to have a good look against Acuna. So Bradshaw Mountain faced the wrath of the Sentinels women's basketball team last night, and the Sentinels are hoping to lay their wrath on this visiting ALA Gilbert North team flying in from Gilbert. And they'll have a free kick opportunity. Emerson Hall from the left side. Call it about 30 yards out. He'll boot this one and right into Acuna, and Acuna right there, and great save. And that's really, when you look back at this first half, what a great save, because Acuna was getting screened by the attacking forward, and that's a great move on that right side. And that Sentinels bench all excited. Working up that right side was Eduardo Borboa. And there is some energy and there's a buzz on that Sentinels bench after the goal by Albanese.
And what a good job by the Sentinels of, doing whatever they can to maintain that momentum from their goal. I mean, as this ball is going to roll right to the keeper. But, the last time we saw them out here, they had the early goal, and then they kind of fizzled out. They just let the other team take control, and we're fine with taking the passenger seat. But here tonight, it looks like the Sentinels are the ones that are trying to drive the pace and set the tone, and they're doing a phenomenal job so far in this contest.
This is a very young ALA Gilbert North team. 2 freshmen are starting. The majorities are sophomores. Acuna rolling up and securing the save, and just 2 seniors are starting. So for Coach Michael Gonzalez, he's doing what's necessary, building for the future with a very young team and a very talented team. A team that comes in with a record of 4-1, but play in an absolutely vicious division. And they play in a division where Arizona College Prep is jumped down to a 13-0 record and just playing lights out. And now it's the Eagles on the far left side of the field. This one pooched up. Acuna's right there. And Acuna, diving stop. Read that well, came out of the box briefly, and once again, denied on the play was Garrett Baker. This time, Baker had a little bit of a look, just didn't get enough on it. So Acuna is sharp coming out of the gates. Good crowd on hand. A lot of the Sentinels friends and family are here, bearing the temperatures. Mother Nature in the 50s, and after a while, you're in the 50-degree temperature. It kind of chills the bones. But Adam Perry, the doctor, he just survived a Christmas back east in upstate New York, and Doc, I know you weren't outside that much. Acuna, another great save.
Wow.
Acuna on point, denying MJ Morris. And that one is booted to the right side. So Daniel Morris, his friends call him MJ, with the shot, and Acuna so far perfect on the evening. But as I was mentioning, Doc, you spent Christmas back east, upstate New York. What was the weather like there?
The weather was typical East Coast New York weather, gloomy, moist, cold, not a lot of daylight. But, you make the best of it when you're with your family, and overall, it was a great trip.
Yeah, and Grandma cooked up some vicious food, correct?
Oh, man. It's her job.
Yeah.
She cooks nonstop, and she just loves taking care of her grandchildren.
Oh, that always is a blessing when you go to the relative's house and there's just great food waiting for you. That's always a holiday treat right there when you get fed well.
Yeah.
Sentinels with the pass out front. Good hustling effort. You can tell. Making a purpose to go up the field full throttle. And just coming up just a tad bit short. Zach Sauer. Looked like Sauer was going to track it down. But the Sentinels will have a throw-in opportunity with a 1-0 lead. Already a good portion of this half in. 27 minutes remaining in this first frame. So glad you can join us on a crisp, cool night right here. Call goes against Seton, and the Eagles back on offense. And what a Friday it would be if the Sentinels could pull out a victory. And that pass out in front, and that one is stopped, and Acuna is going to most likely get called for the foul as he took out the attacking forward for the Eagles, and that was a move against Maxwell Parker he most likely had to make, or Parker was going to have a point-blank look either left or the right. So Parker's going to have the penalty kick, and now it's Acuna versus Parker. And this is mano y mano, and Acuna's just going to have to guess right.
Yep.
Acuna, the junior goalkeeper. Key moment in this one with under 27 minutes left in his first half. Acuna decked out in the gray. Maxwell Parker in the white and blue. And that one is over the crossbar. Acuna does what's necessary. He puts the fright into Maxwell Parker, and Parker just raised that shot over the crossbar. So the Sentinels continue to lead 1-0. A key pivotal moment in this one as Parker, plenty of velocity on that kick, just knocked it over the crossbar. So the Sentinels continue on, leading 1-0. And now, Doc, we've seen the momentum really shift after the goal by the Sentinels. It's really been the Eagles controlling the tempo over the last 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost felt like the last game where the Sentinels were just trying to play good defense, and you never want to see that, especially when you have an early lead. I hope the Sentinels can get the ball back here and start some offense. Just put more pressure on.
Sentinels really packing it in on the back end. Right now, 4 defenders on that back end. And another shot. Acuna comes out and did not give the angle. Taking the shot, Colin Carroll. Carroll just a little bit too far to the left and did not have enough good of an angle, but it's going to be a corner kick opportunity. This one booted over the middle, and the good header by Seton to clear it out for the brief second. And this is where the Sentinels have to rise to the occasion and not let the Eagles, that have really controlled the tempo here in the last 5-6 minutes, build any kind of momentum. If the Sentinels can stave this off and then go back the other way and control the pace, they'll have to feel really good about this first half and trying to track it down. Garrett Baker, and Baker with another shot that rips wide past Acuna on that left side.
And, the defense has been spotless so far, and Acuna has been perfect as well. But, that can only last for so long. And, hopefully Seton is not going to rely on their defense as their, last crutch here. And hopefully they can get some offense going, or else, the Eagles, without a doubt, could put up a goal and perhaps crack the ice on this contest.
You really feel right now that the Eagles are just like knocking on the door continuously, and just a matter of time before they bust it in. Sentinels just really need to get the ball on the other side of the field and just really make the back end of the Eagles work and just give their defenders a chance to catch their breath. I mean, they've been gasping for air. You can tell there's a tremendous skill set with the Eagles, with Maxwell Parker, Emerson Hall, Garrett Baker. Baker's been pretty much living in the box pretty much this whole first half.
Yeah.
So it's really crucial here that the Sentinels put some pressure on and get the ball back and work Shane Keller, the freshman goalkeeper. Now it's going back the other way, and the Sentinels on the attacking back end have to be a presence, and the midfielders. And that's a great opportunity right there. Sentinels working the ball up the field. But unfortunately, called an offsides against the Sentinels. So glad you can join us right here on a beautiful Friday night. Mother Nature, she's waving the wicked wand. It is a little chilly. Shot from the outside. Another rip, this time Colin Carroll. And the shot disparity right now way in favor of the Eagles.
Yep.
7 shots to only 1, but doesn't matter how many you take, it's how many you make.
Yeah.
And right now it's the Sentinels with that 1-0 lead. So on that back end, the Sentinels will try to clear it out, and ball trickles out of bounds. So the Eagles, which have pretty much dominated play here in the last 6-7 minutes, will go back to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's been all Eagles on the offensive side of the game here tonight, and, shockingly enough, it's the Sentinels that have the 1-0 lead. 100% efficiency on the shooting, and all it took was one fast break for the Sentinels to capitalize on, and just like that, they're cruising in this contest.
So this year, the Eagles have outscored their competition 30-5 through 5 games, and that includes an 18-0 victory against Apache Junction. And Doc, look, I think in a game like that, at some point, you just got to shut it down for the referees, right?
Yeah,
I mean, look, at what point do you say, okay, enough's enough, and the other team's obviously going to win? There's no point to play on if it's 10-0, and you got to figure 18-0.
Yeah.
Okay, at some point that second half is just done.
Yeah, a bit excessive, and they do have the 60-minute 8-point rule, but still, for them to score that many goals in a shortened game duration is just remarkable.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of people running up scores. I mean,
No.
Doc, I was in Lake Charles, Louisiana once. I was watching a basketball game, and one team was clearly better than the other, and the team that was up big was purposely fouling so they could score 100 points.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to see teams like that, and I don't agree with that whatsoever. I mean,
It's
if
terrible.
you're going to win the game, you're going to win the game, and unless it has some playoff seeding implications, that's just unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking like club soccer or baseball or softball where point differential, depends on your seeding, right?
Yeah, no.
But in a high school athletic game, come on.
Yeah.
You're going to see these kids, and a lot of times most of these kids are in your neighborhood, and there's some goodwill along the way. And that shot is blasted in, and the Eagles are on the board. The big boot by Andrew Kramer just on the right side, and Acuna could not grasp it, and we are knotted at 1.
So here we go. The Eagles have cracked the ice, and now we get to see how the Sentinels are going to respond now that the pressure is being put back on them. And, hopefully with all things considered, they'll, start this drive right here with a lot of offense and keep the ball on the other half of the pitch.
That game-tying score came with 19 minutes and 37 seconds left in the half. Now it's imperative for the Sentinels to really find their offense and just make the back end of the Eagles work. It really is about controlling the pace a little bit and giving the Sentinels back end and Ali Acuna, who's been worked over and over again.
Yeah.
8 shots he's faced already, and compared to only 1 for Shane Keller. And the thing about it is, for the Sentinels, they are facing a freshman between the pipes, and that's an opportunity to take on some youth that might misplay a particular shot or take a bad angle, and the Sentinels might be able to put another on the board right before the half. But it all comes with energy and racing on that right side. Borboa rips it across, and that was a good pass across that unfortunately Albanese could not track down, but that was a beautiful rip by Borboa.
Yeah, that was phenomenal. That was a perfect cross right there, and unfortunately neither of his teammates could complete the pass to score, but that's the right sign. That's a sign of life from the Sentinels offense that we've been waiting to see.
And along the way, Sentinels midfielders and defenders going to have to play a little more physical.
Yeah.
Right now, we've seen the Eagles just get too much space.
Too much space, absolutely.
So we are just getting a text from our good friend Grant Wagner, who said, I beat Marcos with the Seton girls 24-0 at home. We ended with 8 players on the field, center backs as forwards as defenders, starters on the bench.
Yeah, and sometimes that stuff happens, and you kind of relish in the victory, and some are sweeter than others for sure, but anytime you're having fun on the pitch with your teammates, I mean, it's always a good thing.
And Grant said that was before the mercy rule was implemented. But Grant, and I know you're listening, and we appreciate you dialing us up from frostbitten Utah. And that being said, if you're surviving all the potential polar bear attacks surrounding you and your house, Let me ask you, and I know you'll text me back on this. 18-0. I mean, don't the referees at some point, the mercy rule, shouldn't it be 10-0 and you shut it down? I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's about getting some experience and so forth, but maybe you play the half, and if it's 10-0 at the half, you shut it down. But 18-0 going into to call the game.
Yeah.
I don't know, Grant. I've seen numerous softball games where things get out of control, and it's just like, after a while, you worry about the safety of the team on the other side that obviously has a skill disadvantage and maybe an athletic disadvantage as well.
Yeah.
So we'll wait to hear what our good friend Grant Wagner from across the border will say, and we know Grant will answer accordingly. But this one needs to say it's 1-1. A Matt Albanese goal followed by an Andrew Kramer goal for the Eagles. So the Sentinels haven't played. It's been a while for this team. The squad hasn't played since losing to Prescott, traveling up to the high country, losing 9-0. And the women also lost there as well. I mean, look, anytime you go up to Prescott, and Grant Wagner can attest to this, especially this time of year, the temperature is going to drop another 15 degrees. And unless you say to yourself, I don't care about the weather, I'm going to go up there and we're going to win the game and get it done, the weather's going to be a factor, especially for being so spoiled here. Crossing pass, and the Sentinels were able to clear it out for the moment. But that weather is always a factor when you go up to Prescott early in the season. It's 10 to 15 degree drop, so if it's 60 here, well, you're going to go there, it's going to be 45 at night,
Yeah,
right?
chilly.
So.
And, another thing about traveling up to Prescott, and it might be minor, but, the altitude difference could affect the players as well, especially, playing down here in the valley. Anytime you travel up north like that, it's going to be a bit of a change, something different that the players are going to have to, learn to adapt to.
Call goes against the Eagles. And Doc, you played numerous baseball games. And, look, I played games in cold weather. I hated playing baseball in cold weather.
It's just the worst.
It's the worst. You don't like to hit.
No.
If you get sawed off on the handle, forget it. You're done.
Yeah.
Your hands are toast for the rest of the day.
Or if you palm a ball on the receiving end of things. I mean, just.
Yes. Even with the batting glove
hurts.
on, right?
Everything hurts, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, everything hurts in the cold.
The
No
field's harder. The clay's harder.
Yep.
You slide. It feels like you're on concrete. Good attacking move by the Sentinels, and that was punched away by the Eagles.
Yeah.
Better job by the Sentinels for a brief moment. Now coming in on the attack and just putting his body and now some physicality. And that's what the Sentinels have to do. You got to get tough on that back end. You just can't let a big offensive streaking player that is Garrett Baker, who's lived in his first half in Sentinels territory. You got to put some physicality on him and let him know that he just can't roam free.
Yeah, exactly. You got to make him earn it, and you can't give anything away for free, especially in a tied-up ball game.
Great job by Logan Sauer on that back end. Sauer, a little workhorse, who really bringing some effort and energy on that back end. 1-1 game, 13 minutes left. That one's trickling outside. Kept alive by the Eagles. Worked across. And Sentinels on the back end doing some good work. Sharon Love, Eduardo. Bourbeau with a nice pass up the field. Over to Albanese. Now taken away on that back end by the Eagles. Eagles getting back defensively rather quickly. Haven't been challenged much, so that back end, they're going to have fresh legs, Doc. I mean, they haven't worked that hard. They've only faced one shot in goaltender Shane Keller. Hasn't had to work that hard. There's one opportunity he whiffed on. So you love to see the Sentinels put some more pressure, get past that back end of the Eagles, and make Keller work. The freshman getting an opportunity. He's one of 3 goaltenders on the roster. And for head coach Michael Gonzalez, he's saying, you know what, I'm going to give the youngster an opportunity, see what he can do tonight. Closing in on 12 minutes left in this first half. Sentinels scored in the first 7 minutes of this one. Borboa off the free kick, and Albany's right there with the punch in, beating killer. And then Andrew Kramer with 19 minutes remaining in the first half knocked it in to tie it at 1. Punch up that left side, kept alive. Good work over there by Maxwell Parker, and a battle ensuing by Gus Munoz. And Munoz, love that. Love the effort, and that's what you got to do. Be physical, be strong, and don't be afraid. Get after it. Sentinels have got some athletes on this campus. You know, they just got to put their big boy pants on and come out here and, you know, bow up a little bit.
Yep.
It's a physical sport. I mean, we see this with Carter Abey in the basketball team. These young men, they out there, they don't have tremendous height, but they're battling on the boards every single night. And that shot is just wide off the header. And that was a good point-blank effort. And racing up the field and knowing that he just missed that one was number 14, Corbin Sider. So Sider coming in. And this is how confident right now the Eagles are, Doc. Sider, who's a defender, coming up from his defensive position off the corner kick.
Yeah.
So that tells you right now that the Eagles really believe in what they're doing so much that they're going to let their defenders freelance a little bit to attack on offense.
Yeah, I think that's interesting for sure. And, you know, maybe they're just looking for a separate look. But one thing I can say for certain is that this break definitely benefited Seton. There was definitely a mentality shift at some point, and, you know, they seem to want it a lot more than the last time we saw them out here on the pitch. And, you know, that's clearly represented with the score being tied up here in the first half. And, you know, as this first half winds down with 9:40 on the clock, you've got to start to wonder, you know, what is the key to success, the key to victory? What is that path going to look like tonight for the Sentinels? Because, you know, while they've tried, they've had some fast breaks, they haven't been able to sustain any offense here tonight.
So we alluded to the discrepancies in talent in that 18-0 victory that Gilbert North put on Apache Junction to start the season. We reached out to our good friend Grant Wagner across the border, and Grant said the AIA should have an open league for soccer like they do for football and basketball. Not all 6A teams can compete in 6A, same for 4A. It does zero good for either team with a score line of 18-0.
Yeah.
And Grant's right. And I think ultimately this is how it should be done. And that one is just punch to the left side, and just coming up with the save was Ali Acuna holding off Maxwell Parker yet again. And Grant, look, this is how I think this should go. I think ultimately, I think the AIA should clean up, whether it be, doesn't matter the sport, but if someone's getting trucked and you're at halftime, look, call the game.
Yeah.
And that corner kick is an opportunity for the Sentinels, and they do a good job, and they're just trying to clear it out of the box, and Eagles on that right side in a battle along that sidelines, and the Eagles will retain the leather. But I think ultimately the refs, it should be a referee discretion, or at least at the half, right?
Yeah.
They revisit the conversation. And I think ultimately I'm all for an open league, but I think the open league should happen after the season's over. And that way, if you're a 6A team, you win the 6A state and you have something to cherish, right? Or a 5A or 4A, 3A. And then if you're good enough to be in the open division, then you're in the open division, you know? And that's determined by the rankings, the seedings, whatever. And then you go from there. And that way, let's say a team lost in the 6A finals, Doc. Well, they get another shot in the open, right?
Yep.
So their season's not done.
Yeah.
And that way you can have a a different league winner, and then you can have an open winner ultimately. And I think that would be a great thing.
Yeah, definitely. And, those are the kind of things that, hopefully get brought up at the AIA board meetings and whatnot. And, they're always looking to improve the game. And, whatever decision they make affects a lot of people. So hopefully they consider, some of these things.
Well, you just love to see these young ladies and men out there that are battling so hard. They put so much time and effort into these practices, and if they have a chance to win their 3A division or 4A division, you love to see that. And then afterwards, if they if they reseed everything and the rankings have them good enough to play in the open, that's just a bonus, right?
Yeah.
And right now, Lenny Hutchison is walking as human being Paulo Hutchison.
Yeah.
Lenny is a Dalmatian, which means he has multiple spots, and at times he's confused because he doesn't know if he's white or he's spotted. He's kind of confused of exactly what he is, but he was walking as human being, and every time it's always nice to see a human being being walked because we need to be walked every now and then.
Yeah, absolutely. Shut the brain off, let the animal take control, and just lead you wherever they please.
Yeah. So we are back to action with about 5:30 left in this first half. Knotted at 1. These two teams played so hard last year with Seton losing 1-0 in a thriller and then some. Coach Baker, he's got you can see him at the bottom of your screen with his little yellow hat on, standing right beside Victor Nichols. In fairness, Victor Nichols is injured, so that's another young man with the jersey. So the Eagles once again controlling for the brief second. Eduardo with the great move at midfield. Eduardo on his giddy up and almost got it by Christian Castro Hernandez and that right side. But you like to see Seton making some noise late in this first half, building some confidence. And that was a effort right there that we just saw you had to have. Ethan Garcia, it's a shame because the Sentinels, the ball was coming back to midfield, and Garcia was more of a spectator on the play than actually playing the game and let the defender work the ball back up the other way. And this is what these young kids have to learn for Seton. It's a nonstop, and Garcia's a senior midfielder, but the next wave will realize that it has to be a nonstop effort. There is no room in a tight ball game. There's no room to let up.
No.
One play, one mishap, one let up on the effort, and a player beats you, and then it's a point-blank shot on goal, and you've lost the game. You can outplay a team for the whole contest and then let up in the final minute and lose the game.
Yep.
And that is just painful. I mean, soccer is a very, very specialized sport where, grit and hustle and effort can really keep you in so many games. Unlike baseball and softball and basketball, look, ultimately, if you have a guy who's humming on the mound, Doc, well, he's going to be untouchable, and your offense can scrap a couple out, and you feel good about the game.
Yeah.
Same can be said in softball. The majority of the great teams have the outstanding pitching. Basketball, you can have your one elite scorer lead you to victory every night because they're so good. They can do a 1-on-2 or a 1-on-3 and score every time because they're just that good. And the other team just has to play their role and, play some defense and crash the glass.
Yeah, absolutely. And, in soccer, that's so much more rare to really find a player that controls the entire game by themselves because, it's such a team sport.
And right now, the Sentinels collectively are doing a good job as that ball is punched down the field, and coming out of the box is Keller. And Keller will just knock it away. And he's out of the box on the throw-in. Borboa. And Eduardo gets it back, and that one a cross, and Tanner Gordon just not in the good position. But a good hustling effort by Peter Sajabi, a freshman on the JV squad. He's getting his opportunity tonight, and he read that well. He saw the goaltender out of the box, tracked it down, threw it in quickly, and Borboa ripped it across, and just the crossing pass was just out of the reach of Gordon. But still, what are we seeing here late in this first half? We're seeing a little bit of a momentum switch, and now Sentinels can't afford to give it up. And this one is punched in, and that is the difference as the Eagles go on top. And he's been living in the first half in the Sentinels territory, and finally Garrett Baker bangs it home. Baker one-on-one, a little punch shot past Acuna, and it's a 2-1 Eagles lead. And just when we talked about the momentum shifting to the Sentinels, all of a sudden we talked about effort and energy, right? We saw a couple forwards and the midfielders just started to fly by with open space, and no one was putting a body on a body, and Baker gets loose and he beats Acuna.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about it. I mean, it's so unfortunate for the Sentinels right there. They played such a good stretch of maybe the last 15 minutes on offense and bouncing out with good defense, and just one little lapse of maybe effort or, defense lets Baker break free, and, that's all it takes. Just one moment in this game of soccer, and just like that, the Eagles have all the control in this contest.
And Eduardo and Garrett Baker getting tangled up, and Eduardo getting the call. And I just want to see, look, for these young Sentinels out here, play tough, play physical. Get back on defense. There's no excuse to let a player just race by you, and he's got 15 feet of open space around him. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster every single time. And for the Sentinels, 30 seconds left in this first half, and coming up the field, Maxwell Parker. Parker racing, beating a couple defenders on that back end. He's trying to turn the corner. Shot across, and that one is going to go wide, and still 12 seconds left in this half, and the Sentinels have to be aware of where the Eagles are. And this one is going to trickle down, and one more shot potentially on goal. And what a save by Acuna, denying the shot on that right side. Acuna comes up big, and the Sentinels get out of the first half trailing only 2-1. And Ali Acuna faced numerous shots. Shot disparity of this one, 11-1 in favor of the Eagles. But some good moments by the Sentinels. Started fast. Eduardo Borboa with the free kick. Albanese knocked it in the first 7 minutes of this one. Then it was Andrew Kramer with 19 minutes and 37 seconds left in the half that tied it. And then it was Garrett Baker, and Baker has been living in Sentinels territory the whole first half. He banged it home, and that is where we are. A 2-1 Sentinels deficit. We'll take a short timeout from Michael Eubanks Stadium. You're watching the Sentinels and the Eagles right here on the Seton Catholic Sports Network.
excited to announce that we are making progress and that our initial steps will begin this summer with the installation of air conditioning in McMahon Gym. This incredible accomplishment reinforces how we continue to move forward with campus improvements, which are crucial to creating an even better experience for our students, faculty, staff, and parents. But our work is not over. We need additional help to continue this amazing, ambitious project. We're calling on our Seton community of alumni, parents, grandparents, and friends to really rally, make our family presence felt, and make our event center a reality. If you haven't made your pledge to our campaign yet, or if you would like to increase your pledge amount, scan the QR code at the end of this message, or visit our website and click on the advancement page. Once again, thank you to everyone who has supported our Founded in Faith, Building on Excellence campaign through your gift, through your prayers, or through your investment of time.
And we welcome you back to Michael Eubanks Stadium. Joe Pequeno alongside the doctor, the future anesthesiologist of the Stars, or maybe the potential Arizona commercial real estate wonder in Adam Perry. Doc, so good to be with us. Glad you're here.
Thank you, Joe. And yeah, a man of many potential opportunities here, and we'll see how that all pans out. But, our focus tonight is on this Sentinel squad and, what they can do to get themselves back in this contest. And when we look at the first half, some of the negatives, right? Maybe not enough physicality on the back end of things, and just overall not enough aggressiveness when they have the soccer ball in their possession. I mean, you see them sometimes giving away offensive possessions and, letting drives just dissipate as soon as pressure is applied to them on the offensive side of things. And, we'd really like to see them sustain something on offense here and put a lot of pressure on the freshman goalkeeper of the Eagles.
And Doc, at one point, do you, as an athlete, as a competitor, I mean, you have to start thinking where you have to start taking things a little personal, right? I mean, you're 0-3. The team struggled last year. And you have to start taking things a little personally where you go out there and you're battling not just for yourself, but for the pride of the program, the pride of your teammates, the pride of your coach, trying to build a culture. And you got to go out there and fight. Yeah. And that's what I really want to see. In this second half, the Sentinels, after they got the quick goal, they were completely outplayed, and the defenders were constantly on their heels, and the midfielders have to do a better job. That last goal that was scored by Garrett Baker, he just basically outran everyone. And that should not happen in a tightly contested contest. And the Sentinels are going to have to find ways to play tougher. They're going to have to find ways to be more physical, and they're going to have to find the fight within them to make this a last-second kind of match.
Yep.
And have an opportunity to pick up that first victory.
Absolutely. I mean, the Sentinels should be just chomping at the bit coming out of the half. I mean, they're in a very competitive game with a very good team, and this shot goes just wide left.
And what a save by Ollie, denying Garrett Baker. And once again, Garrett Baker, we talked about him in the first half. He's been all over
all night.
Seton territory the entire first half, and now he establishes the second frame with the same kind of dominance, and someone's got to put a body on him and slow him down a little bit. He cannot be roaming free. He's just running by Sentinels defenders on that back end.
Yeah, and there's not enough of an athletic disparity between the two teams for that to, be happening. All the athletes on this field are, close in skill level and close in athleticism, and that, to me, just looks like a mentality difference right there between Baker and the Sentinels defenders.
Sentinels were outshot in that first half 11-1, and right now Garrett Baker is multiple shots, and Baker sets the tone for the second half, and Ollie was just a great diving stop, or this is a 3-1 match, and Sentinels offensively have got to raise their intensity. The midfielders have got to find the will and skill within them. Now, of course, in fairness, Sentinels are playing without Josh Brown, who is with his family. Victor Nichols is battling an injury, so he's not here. So Coach Baker is going with youth, and with youth comes moments of trying, moments of moments where you have to just bear the outcome. And once again, it's the Eagles point blank, and that one is busted in. A good shot that's blasted, and it's a 3-1 lead. And on the offensive execution, Maxwell Parker with a dagger. About 15 feet out, and that was just a lightning rod and placed on the right side, and Ollie had no opportunity. But once again, left free, left open, and Parker capitalizes on a point-blank look.
Yeah, and this is not the look that we wanted to see from the Sentinels coming into the second half. I mean, they played great defense all during the first half, and while there might have been a lot of pressure on them, they only cracked 2 times. But so far here in the second half, things are not looking very good for them.
So I want to see some great effort from Ethan Garcia, the midfielder, as well as Griffin Charlson. Charlson who's a junior on this team. Still another year and a half to play with this program. Make an impact at that position. And once again, we're seeing the Eagles coming out of the gates in that second half, controlling the tempo, running past the back end, the attacking back of the Sentinels, and wanting it more right now. And, for this Sentinels team, a lot of young faces are getting the time, but time to rise up. We can't always, and once again, Acuna is beat. Open opportunity and busted home yet again. Maxwell Parker, his second of the night. And the lead is now 4-1. And if you're Coach Baker on that sidelines, he's got his yellow cap on. He's got his yellow winter wear on. And, he's going to let his team learn from this. All these young players out there. And you just hope that by the end of the season, all this experience, all these younger players are getting will pay off down the road, not just for this year, but for next year and the year after, and help build what he's hoping to achieve. Shane Keller on that back end for the Eagles. He's faced one shot on the night. One. Eduardo right there. He's battling on that right side and shoots it across. Opportunity. Worked in the middle. And falling on the turf was Griffin Charleston. And Charleston will have an opportunity. He'll get a free look. He was knocked down and fouled on the play. But we just saw right there from Peter Sajabi, number 14. He had the corner and then decided not to take the shot and cross it over. He had a one-on-one opportunity.
Yep.
Sajabi's got some speed. Don't be afraid. Attack. 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 Only good things will happen. So Charleston will get a look potentially. Well, he'll give way to Albanese. Well, they'll kind of disguise it with Borboa in. Eagles showing 4 across. Borboa shoots it in and right into the arms of Shane Keller. So a good look, a good stroke by Borboa, just right into the waning arms of Keller, who was point blank right in the middle and didn't have to do much. On the other end, attacking Acuna with a great save.
Wow.
Ali right there denying once again Garrett Baker, and Baker just flying up the field, just beating a couple defenders in that back end. A 4-1 Eagles lead. 2 quick goals in the second half, both by Maxwell Parker. These two teams played last year with the Sentinels losing a tight one, 1-0. Working it at midfield, and Garrett Baker on that left side. And Baker with a lot of room to maneuver. And then you had Maxwell Parker just right in front of the box with about 5 feet in front of the nearest defender.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get Grant's thoughts. I know, Grant, you're watching right now. Love to get your thoughts, Grant, via a text on right now, and that one is booted to the right side, and that was a good quality boot by Eduardo, who's making his presence felt. Are you seeing on that back end the Sentinels a step slow, the midfielders not doing enough? Just your thoughts as we watch this second frame, and you can dial in, of course, via text, and you can just dial up on the 1-800 text line on the Seton Catholic Sports Network.
Well, you don't have that yet, but, that might be in development.
And Grant Wagner, we're waiting for you. So it's a 4-1 Sentinels deficit, and by no means are we taking shots at any of these young men out here. They're all working hard, but ultimately for the Sentinels to take the next step, it maybe is tactically a change, something there, or maybe bad angles are being taken, like That time you see Garrett Baker coming up, and there's a body right in front of him. And that time he wasn't able to cut loose. On that other side, ripped across. Maxwell Parker crossing pass, and good defense by the Sentinels with an opportunity to clear, and they're doing just that. Eduardo shoots it up. So JB, and they call an offsides against the Sentinels, and that's painful.
Just no defender within 50 feet of him right there. He would have had a clear one-on-one with the freshman keeper, and that's unfortunate to see.
And on the national stage, we have the video review. VAR, unfortunately here, we have the discretion of the referees.
Yep.
Under 32 minutes left in the second half. A 4-1 Eagles lead. Eagles led by Michael Gonzalez, who started this program 7 years ago. A product of Mountain View, also went to Mesa Community College. And I am so proud to say, Doc, that I went to community college back in St. Pete. Got my AA degree. It was the perfect fit for me at the time. I came out of high school. Let's just say I wasn't the most in-depth studier.
Yeah.
But I found my way, got my AA, went to University of South Florida, got a degree in journalism. And, you know, I think for a lot of young men and women that are deciding what to do, and the junior college route is a great route. Get your AA, get your education, a fraction of the costs, and you learn what college life's all about. And then it gets you ready for your 4-year degree. And that is boated in as Acuna came out of the box, and it's another goal for the Eagles. And the route is on and punched in, and making it look easy was Daniel Morris, the freshman.
And, you know, Joe, we talked during the first half about, you know, maybe the Eagles were knocking on the door and it was an impending bash in of the door, and it seems that the door has been bashed wide open right now. I mean, the Eagles are really pouring it on here in the second half, and that's likely due to the, you know, maybe tiredness of the defenders of the Sentinels. I mean, they were overworked the entire first half of this contest, and the pressure has not dissolved in the second half.
3 quick goals in the second frame. Maxwell Parker with a pair, and now Daniel Morris. And now it's Acuna denying. And that was a rip by Maxwell Parker. Parker ripped a laser right into Acuna. And Ali Acuna, when he goes to bed tonight, is going to be having nightmares of white jerseys coming at him because they've come at him in all angles.
Yeah.
And he's done his best. You know, you're only good as the defense behind you. And Doc, you know all about that being a pitcher. You can throw a hell of a game. You can throw a whale of a game, but if no one's playing defense behind you, what are you going to do?
You're going to lose, and you're going to pay for it.
You need some help along the way.
Yeah.
And Ali is a gifted young man who battles hard. His dad takes in all the games. He's here this evening as well. But it starts with a team commitment to be ferocious. You got to be, as Leonardo DiCaprio said in The Wolf of Wall Street, be relentless, be ferocious. And that's an effort you got to have on the athletic field. And over the course of time, you're hoping these young Sentinel athletes will have that ability to get that next phase, and they'll learn with experience, and they'll learn to be physical, and they'll learn not to let a player like Garrett Baker and Maxwell Parker roam wild. But in the meantime, it's a 5-1 deficit. Coach Baker on that sidelines, eyeing his team and trying to find the combinations for the future that will help this team put some W's in the standings. That one's ripped deep into Shane Keller, who's only faced a couple shots in the night. Eduardo with a couple shots in his second frame, making a couple key moments. couple of moments to be proud of for the Sentinels. But collectively, you're down Josh Brown, you're down Victor Nichols. A lot of youth taking place right here. So, getting some information from Grant across the border, he said, you know, the back end, get some youthful mistakes back there, and that's what it is. So, hey, I'm okay with youth learning on the fly. It's only going to make this Sentinels team better for years to come. And soon enough, they're going to be going into opposing stadiums and trucking the home team and putting up 5, 7, 8 goals on the night and getting back on the bus and knowing the mission was accomplished. And making the opposing goalie have nightmares of a sea of red swarming at him on a nightly basis. But in the meantime, we play on. Sentinels trailing 5-1. On Monday, they head to Arizona College Prep. It's going to be a twin bill there. The women will take on Arizona College Prep, followed by the men. And the men are 13-0. They are simply playing fantastic. And if the world allows me to be at Arizona College Prep, Doc, I will be there.
Yeah, that should be an exciting matchup, no doubt.
I think it's a tremendous challenge for Seton to go and play that game, and just regardless of the outcome, just go out there and lay it all out. You have nothing. At this point for the Sentinels men, Garrett Baker, left side, and Baker knocks it home, but there is a penalty on the play, and that one is going to be taken off the board as it goes against the Eagles. If you're the Sentinels right now, you have nothing to lose. Every contest is one in which you go out there and you battle, you play hard, and let it loose. Play fearless.
Yeah.
Play 150 miles an hour. Play with your hair on fire. You're basically Tom Cruise's Maverick in Top Gun ripping through the waves of the sky at Mach 5.
Yeah.
And just saying the magical words and competing and never leaving your wingman and going after it hard.
Absolutely. And, you know, the Sentinels might have flashed that a little bit at the start of this contest, but one of the problems we've seen with them so far in this season is, you know, they can't really endure. They can't maintain that high level of play throughout the entire contest. And that might be mental, that might be conditioning-wise, but I highly doubt it, you know, how hard these kids work. But that's something that they have to work on, no doubt.
Well, I'm very excited about the fact that Coach Baker, he's pacing that sidelines, and, you know, no one likes to lose, and Coach Baker's no different than anyone else. And he knows that what he's doing right now, getting a lot of youthful experience as Owen McElebay steps out there, number 25, as well as Tanner Gordon, senior defender. He knows that there's going to be some bumps along the way. And with those bumps, there's learning curves, and you just hope those learning curves start turning into straight lines. Right, Doc?
Yeah.
I mean, they can't be a circular curve where you just go around in a circle, but eventually you start straightening things out.
Yeah, I mean, with the tremendous athletes and, you know, kids that these young men are on this Sentinel squad, you have to expect them to break that cycle eventually and finally get things on the straight and narrow.
So a text from Grant Wagner talking about the Arizona College Prep coach, Coach Jeff Perry, a legend. He was Grant's coach his senior year. And is considered one of the best coaches in the state. And with the way his team is playing right now, they are on track for potentially another one. A phenomenal soccer program. And one we'll see firsthand on Monday night. Starts with the women. And I'm loving to see what the ladies will do. Riley Kelly and that crew, they won't be afraid. They're not intimidated. They'll bring the physicality. They'll show Arizona College Prep what they can do. And The ladies are off to a good start. They're in the conversation. And that one is knocked to the side. And Ali Acuna is now out of the game. Young man who went through his share of hard knocks, and he's been replaced between the pipes. So the Sentinels with a change in net. Doc, I'm going to find out who that is. I'll let you take the mic.
Yep. And here we see maybe some clock management from the Eagles. I mean, they've got a comfortable lead in this one. No need to tack on the score, although I'm sure they're going to try and get to that mercy rule here, but hopefully the Sentinels can straighten things out on defense throughout the remainder of this contest and, maybe even make it competitive down the stretch here. We've got 21 minutes left, 22 minutes left on the clock here, and, never say never. Nothing's impossible in high school sports until that final whistle goes off.
So, Doc, as we look at the roster, there's only another goaltender on the roster, so that was pretty easy to figure out. 00, Daniel Mendola, a senior. So Mendola will ride out this last 21 minutes and change as the Sentinels look to make some noise in the final minutes of this one, trailing 5-1. It started well, quick goal. They got in and had some energy and effort. A little pooch kick, and Mendola is right there and secures it. And much to the delight of his teammates on the sideline, rooting him on. Good crowd on hand. We've got students in attendance. We've got family all bundled up. And this is definitely jacket weather. It's jacket weather, it's blanket weather, and it's definitely little Walmart heater weather as well. And, it's one of those things, Doc, where as a spectator, you're out there for about 10, 15 minutes. After a while, it builds on you. It wears you down a little bit. And that's going to be a foul call against Griffin Charleston and could be a free kick opportunity for the Eagles. But after a while, as a spectator, you're in the cold weather, and you're like, this is not bad. But as you're out there, and your body temperature, your core starts breaking down.
It creeps in.
Yeah, by the time you leave, you're like, you just want to get to your car, and you're hoping your heater can turn on and blast to volcanic temperatures within seconds.
Yeah, you mentioned
right?
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that it feels like almost a bone-chilling temperature, and you're absolutely right, especially sitting on these, steel benches for some of these fans in attendance. That's no fun.
And that shot is off the post. And that one is kicked wide, and holding his head in disgust, knowing that he should have banged that home, was the young man for the Eagles, and who had his chance, and that is number 8 of ALA Gilbert North. So Eagles threaten, and Mendola with the shot off the post. And they're once again making some noise as the Sentinels just trying to clear it out. But it's the Eagles with some shifty moves and some physicality and some bodies banging down below, and Eagles wanted some calls to be made. They don't get it, and now it's Eduardo Borboa and Garrett Baker getting after it a little bit. And, after a while, we kind of talked about taking things a little personally, Doc, and right now maybe, and look, we haven't seen anything really dirty or illegal, but now the Sentinels are bowing up a little bit.
Yep.
And these are moments that they'll have to carry over to the next game to bring this kind of physicality. I think you and I have seen enough of of the men's team, their biggest problem sometimes they're letting the attacking mids and the forwards get into too much space, and you got to put a body on a body. You can't just freelance and expect that the guy's going to miss the crossing pass and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
This one is shot, and this one is punched over the crossbar. Maxwell Parker gave it a good rip. Parker from a good 30 yards out on the boot.
Yeah, and maybe that obviously we'd never advise a physical kind of penalty like that, but
By no means.
By no means, but that's the right sign that we're seeing from the Sentinels now. Maybe and it would have helped to have that earlier on in this contest, but at least they can head into next contest knowing that, hey, maybe there is some return and reward to being physically aggressive on the pitch.
And they're going to have to. I mean, the next match, they're going into the Hornets' nest. They're facing an Arizona College Prep team that is simply playing at another level. They're playing at a state title level. They're 13-0. They're playing dynamic, and you look at them. They've scored 60 goals, Doc, and they've allowed 3. Okay,
Wow.
so I want you. Look, my math's not good, but 60 goals divided by 13, you're putting up, 5 a game.
Yeah.
Or four plus a game.
Right around there, right around that 4 mark. Yeah.
Once again, if you're checking if I've got a math degree, I don't. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a journalist.
Yep.
I got a degree in journalism, and now I've kind of swayed into sales. So, it's and sales, by the way, people. In case you're wondering what a sales job, it's all about talking to people and and working with people, and you're nonstop dealing and trying to make things happen on that end. And right now the Sentinels are trying to make things happen offensively. They've only had a couple bright moments. And Maxwell Parker hooking Borboa. And the ball trickles out of bounds, and we're under 16 minutes left in this one. So the Sentinels on Monday, they're getting right back at it. Arizona College Prep. And that's why I think tonight it's a good learning moment for the youngsters. And I think Monday is going to be another learning moment. And it has the potential to be a couple things, Doc. It has the potential to be a one where the Sentinels show their grit and play a hard-fought match, or one that could get out of hand early. It really depends on what squad and what fight will that team have on Monday.
Yep.
And we've seen some good fight tonight here. We've had moments along the way. And coming into the mic right now, I think she's about to join us. I don't know if we have another headset, is Audrey Hutchinson, who used to play for the women's squad. And Audrey is here, and Audrey, fresh off graduating from Ohio State. Congratulations.
Thank you, Joe.
And for all the Sentinels fans out there, first off, whether it would be for the women's squad or for the men's squad, you could suit up for either squad because you are a physical force out in the days of when you played. And when you stepped on the field, Audrey, what was your mentality? Because you flat out brought it. You weren't afraid whatsoever.
Yeah, well, my senior year, Joe, I went for a yellow card every single game. I set the record for all of 3A soccer, men's and women's, for most yellow cards in a season.
Yeah, and that is something to be proud of. And Grant Wagner sends me this text. It says, Audrey, exclamation points across the way.
Where's Grant? Why isn't
She was part of the 24-0 victory that you guys took part in and beating Marcos. And we kind of talked about that in this one. Or we talked about how ALA Gilbert North beat Apache Junction 18-0 early. And my thoughts on that, Audrey, and chime in if you'd like. I told the doctor, Adam Perry, that at some point, if it's 10-0 in half, the referee should just call it, and both sides should move on. What's your thoughts? I mean, 18-0, wow. And that one is in, and once again, it's Maxwell Parker. And Maxwell Parker is going to leave this night, and he's got a hat trick on the evening. So Maxwell Parker has come with a vengeance, and he's going to remember this night forever and scoring 3 goals in a game. And that being said, Audrey, at what point don't you think the referees should have I mean, supposedly there is a call at the game at some point, but if games are getting out of hand, should the referees have a point to determine whether?
Well, it depends. I would say if it's their senior night, you can have some respect for the game, but every other game, you're just trying to get your stats up, and a lot of kids are working for college. So if it's 24-0 and you need a few more goals to beat out the next girl, you go for it.
There you go.
We just missed my legacy, Charlie Hutchison, on the field. Looks like he's in midfield.
Yeah, so Chuck is your brother, and so
he's wearing my number from freshman year.
Well,
15.
yeah. Well, so what's that like for him? Because you were like a stallion for the women's team, and now he has to like kind of follow your footsteps. Is there any kind of like, for him, is there any kind of pressure to live up to the legacy you built here?
I mean, last season he was a little standoffish, so this season I think he put in more training. So he hit the gym all summer. He became a swimmer, so I think he has the muscle to, do you know what a slobber knocker is?
Oh, a slobber knocker. I've called some football games before, Audrey, yes.
So this is when you wipe out a player without getting the foul. It's completely fair game.
Yeah. So that being said, have you talked to the Chuck Wagon about being physical in the course of a contest?
Yeah. I hope he gets that competitive spirit. I mean, especially in midfield.
Yeah. So as we watch this one, as Matt Albanese gets a shot on goal, and that flies over the crossbar over Shane Keller. So now you've graduated from Ohio State. Now the next phase is medical school. Am I correct? Or graduate school.
Yes.
And what's going to be the future occupation?
Future, I am pursuing a PhD in clinical psych, hopefully going into counseling.
Okay,
be a
so
therapist.
Got it. So if I'm ever troubled or Adam Perry's ever troubled in life, you can sit us down and sit us on the couch and kind of walk us through and get us on the righteous path of life.
That is true.
Yeah.
With the right dollar.
Yeah, sure. So those days of getting, pro bono are definitely going to be out as that shot is wailed far to the left. So as of now, you're applying to graduate schools, and are there any locations that you might be aiming for?
Yeah, so I graduated early, so I applied this season. I'll be hearing back. Interviews following February, March, and that's a whole process. You get your interview, and then you go through that decision process, and then they offer you a role. So with the PhD programs, you have to apply to certain labs, and I was watching Charlie. Come on.
As they tangle at midfield.
See, he needs to use more upper body.
Yeah, and he'll learn this from his sister. As soon as enough, you'll knock him on the turf at the house and get another yellow card, right?
Yeah.
So for you, you'll be doing some interviews, but any kind of schools?
Yeah. So I applied to a joint doctoral program at SDSU. So that program, you apply specifically to different labs. So they take about 2 grad students a lab. So it's very competitive.
Yeah. So safe to say, after freezing the last 4 years at Ohio State, you want to warm up and be a little bit more like climate conducive in San Diego.
Well, that's why I came
correct?
home. I missed the sun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta love Ohio State, but when it's gloomy 6 months of the year, it's hard.
I mean,
born and raised in the sun.
Exactly. So here we are, a 6-1 lead for the Eagles. Maxwell Parker with 3 goals on the night, 4 goals in the second half for the Eagles. And, this is Coach Baker and his team trying to fight through. And Audrey, what's it like when you have a young team out there and a coach is trying to build a culture and he's like, you know what? We're going to get the young kids in. We're going to teach them, and they're going to take some hard knocks along the way, but eventually they might turn the corner. What's your thoughts on that kind of philosophy?
I think it has to depend on the game also. I mean, Charlie's a senior, but but I love when he plays, so that's unfair. But everyone else, I think it especially this score. They should be having their top-notch players in. But also, we're here to have fun. See, look how great that pass back was.
Yeah.
He read the field.
So I have a question from Grant Wagner across the border in Utah. He said, ask
Utah.
Audrey about the signed picture he has of you sitting at his desk.
Oh, yeah. Well, we tried to retire my number for Seton soccer just because of how legendary my senior season was. You know, I peaked.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Let me guess. I
So-
have to ask you, did you
so
score
then-
more goals or did you have more yellow cards?
Well, I got first team overall player things.
First team
for-
region?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like all 3 of the top awards. But I think, I don't know, how many games are in a season?
Roughly call it 15.
Okay, definitely more goals.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Very nice.
Because I get 1 card a game and then like 3 goals a game.
Okay, so you were out there, because when I saw your highlight reel, I didn't see you scoring. I just saw you knocking people
There were 2
over.
goals in there.
No, there wasn't. Audrey, all I saw was like you knocking people to the ground, and you're walking off, and you're like, you got your hands raised in a V, and you're walking off feeling like you're the baddest person on the planet. I never saw a goal in
Well,
that
I
highlight
came
video.
that little room they went to for halftime. They didn't have that room when I played. So I think there's a perfectly good whiteboard there. You set up a projector screen, and halftime you play my video of all of my yellow cards senior year, and you just take that energy.
I think they should play that before the game. I think you ever hear the song and you
before and halftime.
I think they should play the song. It's a classic '80s song. Terry, like the assistant AD here at Seton Catholic, will know this song. It's by a band called Honeymoon Suite. It's called Bad Attitude, and they should play that song with your video to fire up the team so they go out there and be ready to lay down the law.
Beautiful. I think so too. I thought that was my dog.
Yeah,
Did
well,
you hear that?
well, your dog Lenny is up here. He is the spotted Dalmatian, and he's kind of like wandering around. I think he's like kind of lost and kind of sad at the same time that he's trapped.
Well, it's his blanket time. So when he gets cold, he likes to go under a blanket, and there's no blanket for him here. He's just bare on the ground like a normal dog.
Yeah. So a 6-1 lead for the Sentinels, and in these final minutes, Audrey, what are you hoping to see? And for the team and these young men going forward, what do you and they have a huge match on Monday. They take on Arizona College Prep.
Oh, wow.
They're 13-0 in the season. They've outscored their opponents 60-3. So
Nice.
your thoughts on what you're hoping to see in these last 5 minutes or so that will transcend into the next match?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know most of these players. I just know my brother, but I hope anyone who's working towards a future in soccer has their moment and can show off their own personal skills. I mean, that's why we record these games, so these kids can, create their own highlight reel and their own future from these games. It doesn't matter the score as long as they're playing at their best ability.
Yeah.
And I would like to see Charlie score.
Yeah, shot across, good crossing pass, and William Baker right there, and
Oh.
Baker shoots it up over the crossbar.
Way
And for me personally, you're up 6-1. Baker's still in the game.
Oh,
So-
no, he's coming out.
Yeah, make that Garrett Baker that is. And so needless to say, it's a 6-1 lead for the Eagles, and the Sentinels trying to play out these final minutes, and some good opportunity between some of the youngsters on the field, and Daniel Mendola, the senior goalkeeper, getting an opportunity between the pipes and working these last final minutes and making the most of the opportunity, and for the Sentinels trying to really grow and learn. And they started
lot of
fast in this
freshmen?
one, Audrey. There is a couple freshmen, a couple sophomore on the roster, so it's a very upper
Wow.
class base roster. But we are seeing some young players play, like some youngsters like Gus Munoz, who had a nice moment. Matt Albanese is a sophomore. Jamie Dahl is a sophomore. Logan Sauer, a freshman defender who's looked good in the back end. Some young men on the JV roster, like Peter
Did some of these
Sajabi.
kids play JV2 today?
Yeah,
Wow.
Peter Sajabi, number 14. He's had some moments offensively, and
Got some tired legs.
he had some bright moments, offensively. And so, yeah, Coach Baker is working some of the JV crowd in, and that is a physical moment. Both players tumble on the turf. Tanner Gordon getting tangled up.
Oh, Grant
picks
just
himself
sent me a text too.
right back up, and
He doesn't want criticism on air. So Grant used to do these things. So he says, I'll make you run. But he used to do these gut busters at Saturday practice. Let me show you.
And so it's going to be a free kick opportunity for the Eagles. and Grant, we want to let you know, by no means are we talking any kind of criticism of you whatsoever.
I am.
Well, Audrey is, but needs to say a good save by Daniel Mendola off the free kick. Grant Wagner, you are beloved here in Seton Nation at all times, even though you're across the border in Utah and you're trying to like run from polar bears and trying to withstand attacks from Yetis. So
it's not that far north.
Well, I mean, it's cold up there. I've been there before, and that one is knocked away. Good save by Mendola, coming in that right side, and was a
Nice
hard
defense.
charging Eagles player, and coming up empty was Daniel Morris.
No, Grant, I did not love gut busters. I pretended to have asthma to get out of them.
Yeah. So she led the team in yellow cards. She led the team in scoring. So once again, until I see some physical proof you scored, I believe your time.
It was in the video. I swear, the last clip is the very last one. So you're saying you didn't watch the whole video?
I watched the whole video.
Okay, well, it sounds like you didn't.
Grant, you've seen the video. I know you're texting. I know you're watching, but I believe it was all yellow
I think
cards.
it's part of his bedtime routine.
Oh, well, he does have the picture of you signed on his desk. So, I mean,
I think a lot of people have that picture.
You're definitely left a lasting moment. Well, I mean,
his is just autographed.
Yeah.
For free, pro bono.
Yeah. So this is the lovely Audrey Hutchison, who's spending some time with us, the former Seton Catholic soccer great, played with the women's program, just wrapped up her time, getting her undergrad degree at Ohio
22
State.
games, scruffy.
And now she's on her way to grad school, potentially. And this one is busted over the crossbar, and a good hustling effort by Daniel Mendola. And in the victory over Marco Siniza, that was 24-0. Grant Wagner told me that Audrey did score. She scored in that 24-0 victory. So it wasn't just all about yellow cards. It was also about some offensive firepower from the young lady located off the 202. So this one is winding down. The Sentinels dropped this one by the count of 6-1. Audrey, we appreciate you joining us, and we wish you the best of luck in your academic career, and you're more than welcome to come back here.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. That is the
this
lovely
was fun.
Audrey Hutchison, and now the doctor, Adam Perry, will rejoin me, and the Sentinels fall to 0-4, and Doc, this one started fast. Sentinels scored within the first 7 minutes. Eduardo Borboa and Matt Albanese, and you thought right there that maybe things were going to go in their direction this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. A similar start to, the last contest we got to commentate over, and, they did hold off a good bit longer, almost making it through the entire first half with only allowing one goal. But, of course, towards the end of that first half, the momentum shifted once the Eagles scored that second goal, and coming out of the half, it just looked like the Sentinels were a bit deflated, a step behind the Eagles, and the Eagles did not ease off the gas whatsoever for the rest of the contest.
So after that, it was goals by Andrew Kramer and Garrett Baker, and the Sentinels were down 2-1 at the half, Doc.
Yeah, and, the Eagles players played tremendously here tonight, and the most impressive thing that I saw was, and as they give the crowd an ovation, the most impressive thing that I saw from the Eagles tonight was their ability to endure. And, no doubt their conditioning is next level over there on the Eagles side of the ball. I mean, they kept the pressure on all night. It was just relentless. And, we saw Acuna in the first half block 10 of 11 shots, or apologies, 10 of 12, somewhere around that mark. And, it was only a matter of time before the metaphorical door was busted down, and, the Eagles capitalized, and the Sentinels, unfortunately, are on the receiving end of a loss here tonight.
So in the second half, it was Maxwell Parker, a couple quick goals, and then Daniel Morris made it 5-1, then Parker nailed his third of the night. And for Maxwell Parker, he just has some point-blank looks where he was left right in front of the box with a good opportunity and unfortunately chased Ollie out of the game, and Ollie deserved a little bit more of a better fate this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunate anytime you're missing some players like that, but, someone's got to fill the role. And anytime you give a star player that many open looks, they're going to make you pay eventually.
So no Victor Nichols tonight, out with the injury. No Josh Brown. He was with his family. So the Sentinels fall to 0-4, and on Monday, well, this was a battle. Now they face the heavyweights. They take on an Arizona College Prep team that is prime, led by an iconic coach, a team that's 13-0, and Doc, a team that's outscored their opposition 60-3 on the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 20-1 goal ratio right there from ACP. I mean, going into that game, we talked about it last night, talking about Bradshaw Mountain having never beat Seton, right? I mean, the Sentinels have nothing to lose going into that game, and they should play just like that. They should play with not a care in the world. They have nothing to lose and everything to gain in that contest, and hopefully they can capitalize there. And if not, if they do unfortunately suffer a defeat, at least they'll get that experience against a top-notch opponent and head into the rest of their season with that under their belt.
Coach Baker talking to his team at the center circle, and of course they'll get tomorrow off to rest up, and then they'll look at tape and get ready for a huge battle as they took on Jeff Perry, the iconic coach of Arizona College Prep, and a squad that is just on its way potentially to maybe playing in the 4A title game. We appreciate you dialing us up right here on the Seton Catholic Sports Network for all the great people that make this happen. Jen Hutchison, Terry Lichten, the athletic department, the great, outstanding people in the administration of Seton Catholic. We appreciate you for allowing us to cover all these great young men and women. For Paulo Hutchison, who does such tremendous work with our live streams to make this happen, we applaud his efforts on a nightly basis. To the lovely Audrey Hutchison, who not only brought her yellow card mentality, but her flair and charisma on the mic as well, and we wish her best in all her academic endeavors, whether they take her to San Diego or some other part of some frostbitten world, maybe Antarctica this time, unlike Ohio State, where she ventured for the last 4 years. But we wish her well. And the doctor, Adam Perry, always a pleasure to have you here with us. And I am Joe Pequeno. Once again, a final. The Sentinels fall to the Eagles of ALA Gilbert North by the count of 6-1. We'll see you on Monday night when the men and women travel to Arizona College Prep. In the meantime, everyone take care. Go Sentinels, and have a great weekend.